stopping fever, give me loving all the time. Free.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Mastermind Network Podcast. My name is Nick Bifano. It is a pleasure to be here with you alongside my good buddy, Gavin Petrea. We're here for the fourth time.
Kind of.
We had a little mishap with our podcast last week. Some of the audio got messed up. But, hey.
We're still a little green behind the ears. We're learning.
2 times a charm. That's what I always say.
Hey, you always get it right the second time.
So you would think that because we've already recorded this podcast that this one's going to be...
It should be really good.
Dynamite. So you guys are in for a real treat here today.
So part of my job is to let the viewers know where we're at.
That's right.
And we're in the lovely home of Nick Bifano in our new podcast studio.
New podcast studio. Check it out. Sweet Pine Studios is sort of my... Look at that right there. Sweet Pine Studios. So if you guys want to record a podcast here, I would love to work with you. We got a good space here. And the Mastermind Network has anchored. We have found a home.
We've even got our own microphones.
We do. Look, every podcast we're getting a little better. But the purpose of this podcast, something that Gavin and I started a few months ago, what we are doing here is we are a Metro East specific business podcast. Mm-hmm. If you are an entrepreneur, a solopreneur, whatever, or if you're just a person who wants to make an improvement in your life, this podcast is for you. It is an opportunity to learn, to hone our skills, to share the struggles and the trials that we're going through on a daily basis, and figure out how we can overcome that and move forward.
We're learning to be extremely vulnerable.
Yes.
That's something that is extremely difficult to do in business, and so by putting our ideas and our pitfalls and things that we've learned out there, I think exposing vulnerability leads to success in the end, because the more vulnerable you are, the more you learn. And
also, too, I think people relate to that more easily.
Mm-hmm.
When you're real and open about who you are, the struggles you're going through, someone's going to find their story within that and be able to relate. And that is sort of the goal with this podcast is to share that with you from both ends, from us delivering this content to you, as well as feedback and participation from you guys about what sort of things we can rally behind and come to get some sort of game plan to conquer that, some sort of game plan to move forward with that.
Absolutely. Speaking of feedback,
yes,
let's just go ahead and break it out.
All right.
November's coming up.
Soon.
Yeah, very soon.
Yes.
So we have decided, Nick and I collectively, to participate in No Shave November. So Nick has to shave what he's got off. We're gonna get through the rules.
I'll say which is rough to begin with.
Yeah, we're gonna, because he thinks he's gonna cheat, but it's not gonna work. But basically, what's gonna happen is we are going to provide you with updates throughout the month of November. We hope that you all will be engaged and let us know who's looking the best or the worst. Which, however you want to look at it.
So the rules of this contest are kind of flexible.
You just want to look bad.
So the parameters of the contest are kind of flexible.
Yes. Yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to grow out what we've got. And whoever's is the least attractive wins.
And here's the beautiful thing is you guys, along this No Shave November journey, we want to encourage you to participate if you are a male. Or, I mean, I guess if you're a female and want to try it.
Everybody's entitled to their own. But this is mostly a male-dominant kind of thing. A lot of guys do mustaches. But the main purpose of this is Movember. It's a mustache, and you actually donate to a charity whenever you do it. Nick and we can't pull off the mustache. We're a little too young for that.
Not as seasoned.
Yeah. So we're going to do the full beard, and then at the end of the month, whoever has the nastiest or the best, however we want to look at it, will donate money for the both of us. So anyway,
it's a good cause.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's for a great cause. It's going to be something fun. We hope that you all will enjoy it and enjoy the process with us, because it should be really interesting.
I pray that my significant other doesn't, my wife or our significant others don't force us to to end this competition early. You've been forced to forfeit.
So, back to our regular podcast, back to your original programming.
Let's rock it. So, today we are talking about branding. Personal branding, building our story, and then how that relates to growing our business. Yeah?
Something we're very passionate about. This is something that is extremely key in growing your business, because navigating this will help you navigate good business as opposed to bad business.
Yes.
Right.
And I think a great starting point would be kind of what you touched on earlier about being vulnerable and being authentic. Mm-hmm. You can't tell a story that's not yours.
Yes.
And I don't know about you, but specifically people in our generation, right, are very good at picking apart things that aren't genuine.
Yes.
You can see that from a mile away. That's one of the reasons why our generation is kind of hard to deal with at times, because and a lot of that is for many of reasons. Mm-hmm. But we are very good at spotting a lack of authenticity from a mile away. It's so obvious. We
have a fly swatter for the BS.
Yes.
A BS fly swatter.
Get that out of here.
We're not about it.
But it's true, though. In an age where it's very easy to only put out your best product, right? Whether it be via social media or your website or whatever, which is all important stuff, because you do want to present the best side of yourselves. I think in order to fully encompass your story, being open and honest is a much more practical approach than not being the big fake.
Oh, absolutely.
Sure.
Well, and especially touching on your social media point, you know, someone can be very heavy on Facebook and marketing and sending out flyers and you know, passing out business cards and yada yada. But then whenever you get to talking to them, they've done a great job of marketing, but they're not as pleasant as the picture seems or whatever. So you get catfished in a way.
Yeah.
Right? That's a thing in dating. It's also a thing in business. You can be tricked by someone's social media presence into thinking, wow, they're really on top of their social media stuff. They must be really good at their job. When at the end of the day, they may be spending too much time on social media.
Yes.
And not enough time on their actual job.
Yes.
And getting things done.
One of the things that's kind of been a sticking point for me recently, and I've harped on it a bunch just in different events that I'm a part of, is your social media has to be a supplement to what you're already doing face-to-face.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer in this, and this is kind of even countercultural to the millennial generation, right? You know, we're all about social media, but my mind has just drastically changed in this first year, that our social media needs to only be a supplement for what we're doing face-to-face on a daily basis, right? It can't be our primary focus, and that is a huge pitfall for businesses, right? They want to be all about the online advertising, the marketing, the follower count, whatever. That's fine, but your content that you're posting has to tell your story in person as well.
Well, and it's very easy to catch someone's eye on Facebook, and I'm using Facebook because that's the most common platform for people to market, right? It's so easy to catch someone's eye. Oh, that's pretty color, boom. But guess what? As soon as they scroll down, there's another one. Mm-hmm. So the attention span that someone has on you, when scrolling through, you have a very short window. But whenever you can actually make a lasting impression on someone by speaking to them in person, investing your time in them because they feel that.
Yeah.
You may be investing a lot of time in social media, and that's great, but you're not investing your time in the right people because, and there's nothing wrong with marketing on Facebook, but
absolutely not.
The types of relationships that you'll build outside of social media, face-to-face, in-person, handshake, conversation, as opposed to, online getting a click and shooting a message. Mm-hmm. I mean, those are two completely different relationships.
Sure. And you and I have touched on this in previous podcasts as well. when you were with a previous insurance agency, you were getting a lot of online leads, right? Mm-hmm. And they're awful to deal with. Would that be a good way to put it? More difficult.
Yes.
More difficult. Mm-hmm. So likewise, anytime, just as a general rule of thumb, a referral or a business transaction that's done face-to-face, triangle of trust type thing, much better way to do business than filtering online leads or generating business organically.
Sure. And some people, for some people in their sales mentality, it works to have that high volume and push high volume at all times. And for others that are more relationship driven, that the numbers don't mean quite as much as the people that they're helping.
Sure.
So it, we're not saying that if you want to go out and buy leads or market on Facebook or whatever, you're doing it wrong, because there's no wrong way to generate business.
Correct. That's a very important.
Yeah.
It's this whole a main message even of this podcast is that this is not a one size fits all.
Right.
It's a collaborative effort.
Now, for you and I, that the relationship building is what we enjoy.
Yes.
That's what we appreciate, and that's where we choose to invest our time, because that's where we think that we'll get the most reward. But like, again, for someone that is a very, very good salesman and loves sales and doesn't necessarily care about the rest of it, then that could be a completely different business model. So we're not saying that this is right, but this is the way that we like to do it, and this is the way that we've had some success.
Yeah, I think that's important to note too. Is that we did, I think it was last podcast, we talked about year one, our fears and failures and what we learned and what we did. That is huge. That
Sure.
The relationship aspect has been the biggest driving factor. And I don't know if for those of you who were at the Mastermind event this past month, we did a panel, right, where Gavin was on it, where we brought a wide variety of professions, and we kind of talked about what those people need in order to get their business, right?
Right.
In order to be a referral partner of theirs, what do they need? And if you notice, the trend that was woven throughout everyone is that they have to have trust, they have to have relationship. Yeah. Your basic kindergarten type rules applied there. And so that to me was just sort of eye-opening in the sense of okay, let's spend a lot of time doing that. If that's what every single person has reiterated that they need, there's got to be a ton of value in that. And that's
Absolutely.
what we have found success in and will continue to cultivate. Right?
And again, the atmosphere that Mastermind has created is very like-minded with what we've discussed and what we like. So it's going to draw the same type of people, like-minded people. Because the people that are high-volume sales wouldn't come to a networking event as such, right? Again, nothing wrong with that. But at the end of the day, people like to be valued.
Yeah.
And people want to work with somebody that they can trust.
Yes.
And so, even on those high volume salespeople, those salespeople tailor to that. They want to provide the value. They want to, show them they can trust them. They just do it in a much quicker way.
Sure.
And they realize that. So, and also, if you're friends with Nick and he's at a networking event, he will also throw you under the bus and not tell you that he's going to bring you up on stage and
ask
you multiple questions. Didn't happen to me, but
it did.
But I did, yeah. So
one of the things as well that I've kind of been dwelling on, I guess is a good way to put it, is currently, right, my network is a mile wide, but it's only an inch or two deep, right? I know a little bit about a lot of people. There's nothing wrong with that.
No.
And that's okay. But now I kind of have to refocus a little bit and say, okay, why don't I take like my 12 to 20 best referral partners and let's make those relationships like deep. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That to me will, I think, produce a lot of fruit. Will be beneficial, and also creates a long lasting relationship as well. And I also think that too ties into your brand, right?
Sure.
Is that you care deeply about people and you don't enjoy surface level, normal business tactics, right? You have a desire to be unique and to ask those questions that nobody's asking. Hey, what's your greatest accomplishment? Hey, what's your dog's name? Like, really off the wall type refreshing questions.
Well, whenever you have a network that's a mile long and 2 inches deep, you're just another guy.
Yeah.
Right. So, oh yeah, I've got a couple guys for you.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. Oh yeah, I know Nick. I think he does home inspecting. I know Gavin. He does insurance. I don't exactly know what kind of insurance he does.
Yes.
I don't know what all types of procedures or whatever you all offer as home inspecting company. But whenever you are the guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And take sexism out of this. It's just a phrase, just to be a person, just
the person.
Yeah, the guy. But we're going to say the guy on the podcast.
Yeah.
We're taking that out of it.
Trying our best to be politically correct.
Yeah, we want to be politically correct here.
But you get what he's saying.
But it's just, you want to be a guy. You want, and everybody, when it comes down to it, business has been done the same way for a very long time.
Sure.
Handshakes, relationships, and it's still working.
Yeah.
There have been many different ways that it comes and goes, but at the end of the day, one thing you can count on is face-to-face interaction. And whenever you think about your parents, your grandparents, and my truck broke down, I got a guy for that.
Yeah.
My AC went out, I got a guy.
Yes.
It's there was no, let me look in the phone book and call somebody. At least in my small town, right? And it was a smaller town, but it was always like, no, we've got somebody.
We got the guy.
We have a guy for that. Get on the phone, call him. And that's what I think you and I are striving to be.
Yeah.
Is
the guy
for that.
Yeah.
You're buying a new home, need it inspected, got a guy.
This is the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Need to get insurance,
That's
got a
the
guy.
And what you touched on earlier is very important. I want to make sure we highlight it again, is that whenever you are sort of skimming the surface with a lot of these referral partners, right, you are a group of guys.
Right.
The guy, right? But, I have tons of friends who are insurance agents, and I love all of them very dearly, right? But when someone asks me for an insurance quote, you are my guy. And it's not that I don't think the other people are competent or I don't think that they're very good at what they do. That's not it. It's just, you're my guy.
Yep.
And because we're in such close proximity and our relationship is very deep, right? You're my guy. And that, to me, is a huge touching point on where we're focusing for this next year, for this upcoming year, right?
For sure, yeah.
And here's an encouragement too. I know most of our listeners, right? You're Metro East or St. Louis based. So here's the thing: there are a lot of opportunities for referral partners, right? There are, of course, some very high producers that everybody wants to be a part of and be their guy. But your sphere, especially if you're brand new to the business, there's some relationships in this community that have been formed over many years, and they're long-lasting referral partners. And guess what? You're probably not going to be that person's guy. You might. I'm not saying you might not get the opportunity, but it's important also to find your own sphere and build and grow that instead of trying to scrape from everybody else's.
And don't be afraid to cultivate a relationship that may not come off as a guy right away. Some of these people that have done business for a very long time, to change their mind, you're going to have to really work on them if you want. So the big fish, so to speak, that they already have somebody. It takes time. It's not I met him twice, so now I'm this guy. No, because you have to get those layers. They have to know you as a person. You have to know them as a person. You have to show genuine care about them and what they're doing, and it's not just them, it's the people that are around them that they work with. There are multiple facets to impress, to become that centralized guy.
And business too is such a personal thing,
Right.
People, it's just business. Nah, it's not.
Mm-mm.
It's not. When we're together, while we have many things in common, baseball and music and all these things, we're always in some degree talking about business, right? Yeah. Because it's become a part of our fiber. It's become a part of our being. And that's a really good place to be, right? It never really gets old.
No.
But in reference to now referral partners being that guy, if you're not connected to me personally, and there's no way I'm going to let you be a part of my business, mm-hmm. right? Like my subcontractors, the people who we sub out services to on inspections, right? You are an extension of me. You are an extension of CDInspect. And you know what? If you aren't able to provide the same level of care that I expect of my clients, nothing personal. But you're not going to represent me personally. Does that make sense?
Yes, that's extremely difficult. That's extremely difficult to grasp from someone who is not a part of the business. Mm-hmm. I've anytime that I get a chance to help a friend or whatever, I want to make sure that if I'm helping them get a job, mm-hmm. so just so to speak, if I were to help them get a job, and I was to reach out to employers that I think would be a good fit, I have to have full confidence in that person.
Yeah.
I have to have full confidence in that employer.
Mm-hmm.
And if I don't, if it's obviously the most trust that I have to have is in the person, because I'm sticking my neck out for each employer. I may not know the employer personally, but that person that I'm offering up has to be solid, right? I don't want to vouch for someone that is, doesn't show up for work or, is
lazy or incompetent.
So, having that extension, I have a very small circle.
Yeah.
I have a very small circle. And if you're in that circle, congratulations. And it's not like I want it to be,
right.
But it takes time to get my trust, which is why I know that whenever I am trying to build a relationship with someone else, I realize that takes time. Mm-hmm. And I can respect that.
One of the things that I've heard you say before, it's either your grandfather or your father said that this is the Petrea name. We have one name. This is our last name. And it means something, so protect it. Right? Yeah. Or something that...
Yeah, you only get one last name, so take care of it.
Yeah.
Basically, is what you So, and I take that mentality into everything that I do.
Yeah.
That's something that will always ring in my head. It has since, I was 16. My grandpa told my dad told me, kind of thing. And it's something that will always hit home. So, I have a lot of pride and honor. So, as soon as somebody threatens that, you're out.
Yeah.
And you have to be that way. So just for you, an example, you said you have a mile wide. You're a very nice person. You're a genuine guy. You want to be friends with everybody. Mm-hmm. You want to help everyone. You stretch yourself too thin sometimes.
Sure.
we've had conversations about that. But at some point, as time progresses, you have to find those people, and you have to cut out some.
Yeah.
And that's okay. You can still be nice to those people, but you have to focus in on who is going to be most beneficial to you, who works well in your network, because just because somebody doesn't necessarily fit in my circle doesn't mean they won't fit in yours. Mm-hmm. So that's nothing to get hung up on.
One of the things, and then I want to get back to a little bit more practical side of things, but one of the things that... to touch on that point is, right, so my mentor Mark, which we've mentioned multiple times on this podcast, took 6 months of his life and devoted, besides his wife and his business, devoted the majority of his time to me. Mm-hmm. Right? And he took me from knowing this much to now being in hopes of continuing to being a wealth of resources and knowledge to other people. Right? And he planted that seed, he cultivated it, he did it, and now he's watching it grow. And it's not an arrogant thing. I'm just speaking from where we're at, right? And so now the hang up, right, is like, so you want to help as many people as you can as quickly as you can, and you give a little bit here, and then you devote your time to this and then this, but you're not really making progress in any one area of your life. Whereas what Mark taught me in those 6 months is like, okay, I'm going to take 6 months of my life, and then from that you are now going to go impact more people.
Mm-hmm.
So myself taking a similar mentality too. There's a relationship or a person or whatever that I identify an opportunity and I want to grow. Like, make sure that that's a priority and make sure that it gets the attention that it deserves. And then because that's going to have, they say each one teach one, right?
Right.
And you have an exponential impact, right? It's the ultimate multi-level marketing scheme ever out there, right? But you're inspiring another person who inspires more people, and that grows from that as well. So.
And we've already touched on things that my father has taught me, so I'm going to throw one more thing out there. He told me, if you want to be really good at something, you can't be really good at everything. And that is another thing that I've taken into business, because the second that you try and spread yourself too thin, try and please too many people, and don't hone in on those, that circle or what's going to most benefit you, you're wasting your time and you're losing money.
Yeah.
That whenever it comes down to it, you have to look at brass tacks and what's losing you money. It may not be, and it may not actually be losing you money. It's just not helping you make money. Right.
So bringing this back to a practical sense, right? Getting back to brand here. There are a few important things to keep in mind as you guys are thinking about your brand or beginning to build it, right? And again, always keep in mind this is we're trying to approach this as authentically as we can, and so you always have to continue to be honest with yourself and put forth who you truly are. That's the best thing that you can be is yourself.
Yes.
And I know again that's sort of kindergarten level, but let's
we're hitting some cliches today.
Yes, but that's okay because there's a reason they're cliches, right? So the first level of a brand, in my opinion, right, has to be competency. You have to be good or very, very, very good at what you do in order to incorporate that as a part of your brand.
Yes.
I'm not going to say, I can juggle, right? I shouldn't be in a circus, right? Right? But that's just so, like, if you're an insurance agent, you got to be very good at whatever. If I'm a home inspector, I got to be very good at inspecting a house, right? I can't be a crappy home inspector,
right?
And so keep that in mind. I know that's kind of a dub, but majority of us are very good at what we do.
I have a saying whenever I get frustrated, because there are issues in business where people drop the ball, right? And it's those moments that really upset me because it's so simple.
Yeah.
Do your job.
Do your job.
It's very simple. You go to work, you do your job. You come home, you don't have to do your job anymore, right? So while you're there, do your job.
Do your job.
Whether that is quoting insurance or, it's like you wandering around a house for 5 hours when you could get it done in an hour.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Very simple. Do your job. Do it effectively. Do it efficiently. And get out.
Yeah.
Right? I can get on a whole rant about people not doing their jobs because that frustrates me to no end. Very simple. 143 has been closed for God knows how long.
That's my way I get to your house too.
Hey,
get it done.
Do your job.
Sorry if you're a part of that construction.
That's my one rant. I'm sorry. It's been closed for so long. I want it open.
Change his mind, people. Okay, competency. The other thing, just to tag along with that as well, is when you receive feedback, really listen to it and listen to it with honesty and things to an extent, right? Like, just the people who you trust, give full permission to speak in your life if there's something that I'm doing incorrectly. Like my really, really good real estate agents, right? The people who refer me a lot of business and we work very well together, right? They know that they have full permission that if there's an area of my business that is lacking or something that I'm not doing to their satisfaction, they can tell me. And I will not be offended. I won't be upset about it. I will say, okay, that won't happen again. And I mean that, you know.
As an entrepreneur, going back and touching on vulnerability, you have to be able to accept constructive criticism, because the second you don't, or you shut that out, you're done growing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, there is someone out there who has done it better than you.
Yep.
And there will be someone who will do it better than you again.
Yes.
Right? And we all strive to be the best in our business, and as you should. But realizing that you can learn from other people is very key in what we do.
Yes.
So
very good.
We touched on it. Move on.
All right.
I lost it. It's gone.
Competency being number one. But unfortunately, right, you can put out yourself, like present yourself, right, as a you know, this is my level of competency, this is who I am as a person, this is what I'm about. But at the end of the day, your brand is truly defined by how other people see it, right?
And who people see you with.
Yes. Yeah. So that sucks. It does. It's hard that you can view yourself as one thing, and you can work so hard to put all these pieces in around that, and put it out there and tie it up with a bow, and people don't receive it as that. What do you do at that point?
That's the age-old question, I think. I mean, and it all, don't care what other people think. Well, you have to. You have to in this business. Yeah. If people don't like you, they're not going to send you business. So you have to fix it. Yeah. You have to be likable. You know, and as crazy as it is, you can lose business from people you spend time with, the people see you with. You can, because they already have an opinion of that person. Yeah. So you can only hope that you make a good enough impression on that person the first time or the second time to give you a chance. And then maybe they will then have the opportunity to speak into your life and say, hey, I don't know that that's the best way for you to go. Yeah. Because there are people that portray themselves, again, catfishing, you know, that put themselves out there. Oh, I do all this business. No, you don't.
I want to always be careful to stay above falling into a victim mentality, right? But as we're growing a business, right? I don't. What I mean by that is I don't ever want to speak illy of anybody, right? Okay. And so as CDI, my company, has been growing a business over here on this side of the river, we've gained a lot of traction in the year and a half that we've been doing this, right? And so a lot of people want to party with us, right? A lot of people want to come on board. Great, cool, that's fine. We certainly do have people that we enjoy more than others because they are in line with our thinking. They've done things that are extremely in line with our mission as well. Right?
And they give value to you.
Yes, right. And then there are the people who, and there's, again, I gotta phrase this correctly, it's not wrong, it's just a different mentality and not one that we align ourselves with. There are the people who do that and still want to come be a part of what we've got going on. And we actually, Mark and I had a meeting about this. We were like, okay, how do we sort this out? How do we deal with this? And my thought was like, well, we'll keep partying with our friends. We'll keep doing the thing. We'll keep pushing, moving forward. Yes, absolutely. However, the flip side of that is if I am not in proximity with those people who aren't that, or at least am exposed to that a little bit, I have no opportunity to change them. I have no opportunity to help them grow, because that's what this is all about, helping other people grow. And so if they're struggling and they want to help build their business, and I have what I feel is tools and resources to help do that, I would be doing them a disservice by just saying, no, I'm going to keep going with my friend. As with everything, it's a balance.
It's a very tight line to walk, though, as well, because there are some people that say they want to change, say they want to do things, but then aren't willing to put in the work. Right. And then there are those people that just don't care. Yeah. And show up just because. And we've talked about that, just showing up and looking for a handout and, kind of thing. Oh, well, my boss told me I need to be here, and so I'm here, and I'm really going to get to my real job whenever I get back, kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know, if you have to put your full effort into it, and you have to pick and choose where you put your full effort into.
Absolutely.
Because the second that you go 50%, stay home.
Yeah. I tell people that all the time at Mastermind. If you're here looking for to get to take something, just leave. There's no hard feelings, but just you're wasting your time.
Yeah.
You might as well just go to Subway and hang out and just like kill an hour another way.
Right.
So okay, great. So last couple points here. If you had to describe your ideal brand, right? I am asking you, but to describe what you want to be known for, what would that be?
Efficient.
Okay.
Trustworthy. Driven. Knowledgeable. I want to be. I always strive to be respected.
Okay. Yeah.
That's always been something that's been very important to me, for whatever reason, ego thing, whatever. But I want to be able to hold a conversation, and at the end of it, people be like, he knows what he's talking about. Have that respect that if someone wanted to ask me a question, they have full confidence that I would give them the right answer. So I want to be trustworthy. I want to have integrity. I want to be humble, driven. I just want to grow, and friendly.
Yeah, friendly Gav.
I want people to think that I'm friendly. Sometimes I am.
Yeah.
Sometimes I am. But okay, so let's reverse the question back to you.
Yeah. Similar buzzwords as what you're saying. Massive integrity is always something that has just always weighed heavily on my heart. And of course, competency, like we talked about. But I want to be known as a giver. Give. Now, that is also a hindrance of mine, or a Achilles heel of mine, right?
Right.
Is that when you give too much of yourself to, you expend a lot of your time and resources on other people, I think that the benefits of that go far beyond business. There's personal fulfillment in that as well, but you just have to be mindful of where you're giving. But
right.
The integrity thing is something too that it should be a part of everyone's business.
Yes.
One of the things we've had, of course, we come up with around problems every single day, right? And some of them get elevated to a higher level than others. We had a situation a few weeks ago where there was a woman who we were inspecting her house. She wasn't buying it; she was on the selling side of it, and there was an issue with it. And of course, we did our job and we called it out and we did our job. And she called us because she felt that what we said was a problem was not actually a problem. And you could tell, obviously, she wasn't going to relinquish that. This was her end goal, and she wanted to argue. And, and she felt that we had done her a disservice.
Right.
And I felt awful about this, right? Because I was like, oh my gosh, like, I screwed up, like someone's mad at me, I was freaking out. I wanted her to hold me in such high opinion because I felt I was doing my job. I felt I was doing her right. And Mark said to me, he's like, Nick, when you lay your head on the pillow at night, you know that you're going to do, that you're going to feel okay about what you did. Right. Apologize, do your due diligence, and move on. Mm-hmm. That is, you know in your mind that you have done all that you could, exhausted every avenue, and have treated people the way they wanted to be treated.
Right.
Right.
Was it Platinum Rule? Platinum Rule.
Yeah.
Those situations are extremely difficult to deal with. I've had my fair share as well. You can, and whenever you do the right thing, it is easy to lay your head on the pillow and say, I did the right thing. But there's still something, the next day, still feel bad. And it kind of drags on. But as long as you, day in, day out, you do your job, right? You do your job how it's supposed to be done. You're a professional. People aren't, in this day and age, people aren't going to be happy.
Yeah.
No matter what you do. No matter if you go above and beyond. Some people just aren't going to be happy. And that is something that you have to learn. It's a pill you have to learn to swallow. Because it sucks.
It does, doesn't it?
It's just not fun. It's not fun. And I'm going to speak on my profession because a lot of people think that, insurance agents are slimy and we're all used car salesmen kind of thing. No offense against used car salesmen. If you're out there, keep grinding, man. Or woman. It's so hard to be politically correct. I switched to this type of insurance. I'm a broker because I wanted to give people options.
Sure.
I wanted to feel like I was providing the best opportunity for them. But still, at the end of the day, some people are like, no, you're just trying to raise my premiums. You're trying to... And that's okay. I've grown to be okay with that.
Yeah.
As long as I know that I'm doing everything that I can to keep their premiums low, to provide the best value with the most coverage possible, that's how I sleep at night.
Sure.
So, but it's tough, man.
Beautiful.
People pleasing.
It's a trap, isn't it? It's a trap. Balance just seems to be the key word that just keeps coming up throughout all these podcasts. Important to keep that in mind. But Gavin, before we sign off here, give us one more very practical thing that we can implement today about how to develop our. I'm putting you on the spot. About how to improve our personal brand, or if it's something you haven't even thought about, give us a starting point.
If you become too overwhelmed, things become. You wake up and it's one of those panic modes. I have 100 things to do today.
Sure.
The way that and I've said this before, I think, or maybe I said it in the last one that wasn't published. I write a list. Write a list of things. So I come home from the gym in the mornings and I write down what I need to do that day. And even after I'm done with the gym, I write it down because that's on my things to do and I already did it. So and then I have a big black marker that I scratch through stuff with.
Done.
And that's so whenever things become too overwhelming, make a list.
Sure.
And prioritize your list because there are those things that are going to be harder to do. But I guess that doesn't really go with branding. That's just something.
No, it does. So my word of advice would be evaluate. Just truly take a moment to evaluate where you're at. Right. Just take a sort of life inventory of the things that you do well, things that you're not so good at, the things that you have a high level skill set at, the things that you don't. Right. And identify one or two of those things and just nail those. Make that be what you sell yourself on. That is just a highlighted portion of who you are, whether it be on social media, whether it be on your website, on your business card, or, of course, most importantly, face-to-face. Focus on one thing that you have total control on and just nail that portion. And then, once that becomes a natural flow of who you are and it's ingrained into who you are, okay, let's add something else to that mix, or let's redefine it in a few things. If you guys haven't, you should really check out the One Thing podcast. It's amazing. It's sort of real estate based, but it's all about how on a daily basis there's one thing that you can focus on that's going to significantly either improve your life or your business. Don't mess up that one thing.
Listen to ours first, and then listen
to theirs. They got a little bit bigger following, but hey, maybe we'll get a shout out from them since we mentioned there, and then
we'll have to tag them.
Yeah, we'll have to tag them.
Hey, if you listen a minute, whatever.
The one thing.
But now that I've had time to think about what you
All right, bring it home. Bring it home.
I hate when you quit putting me on a spot.
Hey.
You know what? Hey, thank you.
Get comfortable being uncomfortable.
You're making me better. I appreciate that.
Love it.
My one word of advice, trim the fat. Very simple.
Yeah.
Trim the fat. Find the things that aren't helping you.
Yeah.
And do not be afraid to trim the fat.
Beautiful. Yeah.
That's
and that can translate into a multitude of things.
Yeah, take it how you want.
Quit going to that network event that doesn't do anything for you.
Mm-hmm.
That the networking event that you go to that you think you're making progress, you're not. Quit eating the food that's not doing anything for you. Quit whatever it may be. Stop doing the stuff that has no substance.
Quit having that one extra glass of wine that gives you a headache in the morning.
I like it. I don't even drink wine. What am I talking about? Awesome, guys. Thank you once again for tuning into the Mastermind Network Podcast. Couple things on the horizon, right? Stay tuned for Nose Shave November. I'm calling Gavin out right here, right now. I believe that I can grow a nastier beard than you. Nasty can be whatever connotation you want to put on that, but it's gonna be. You're in for a treat.
You can trim
buddy.
the near. That is the one.
That's the only place I can grow facial hair.
But like this, there's a one place like you can round it off to make it look presentable.
That's fine.
Because we have to look. We have to look professional.
It's part of our brand, right?
Bit, yeah. I don't want people to walk around with me looking. Anyway,
I'm just gonna own it. I'll say, hey, do you guys like my nasty facial hair? It's for a great cause. Love it. Guys, once again, thank you for tuning into the Mastermind Network Podcast. Stay tuned for episode number 5. We'll be coming at you really soon. Appreciate it. Please share, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. It really helps us grow our audience, helps us grow our network as well. Until next time, we'll see you, and we're out.
It's just to show you that